skaters have a certain view on cities, on public space. I guess it also is a way of exploring the city and making it your space, your public space.
Hi, and welcome to the Cities Reimagined podcast. If you're new here, welcome. You are at the right address to learn about making urban areas better places to live. In every episode of Cities Reimagined, we put together conversations just as the one you're about to hear to leave you inspired and to help you become the best urban change maker you could be. I'm your voice of choice, Johannes Riegler, and this is Reimagining Cities and Urban Communities through Skateboarding. Since the start of Cities Reimagined, really, I thought about producing at least one episode on skateboarding. The main reason for that is that skateboarders perceive and see urban space around them with different eyes. It is also more than only a sport. It's, for many, a lifestyle, which you might start in your youth, but you somehow live with and in for the rest of your life. It is about community and having a great time together, which ultimately is about reimagining those urban spaces and creating a quality to them, giving them a soul, if you will, a meaning, a different purpose maybe even. So it is about reinterpreting spaces and reimagining on how they could be used. Skateboarding is also a very inclusive sport where it does not matter where you come from, what age you are, what background you're from, and what skill level you have. So I had this idea of doing a show on skateboarding and was thinking about the scope of it and the exact framing of it when I got forwarded a link to an unreleased documentary by Fischer, who's a filmmaker and skateboarder from Vienna. I know Christian because he worked with my partner Maria on a street art documentary and some 10 years ago. And from some other projects we work on my day-to-day job at JPI Urban Europe. Christian's new project is called El Cerrito, which he filmed in Peru. It should be out when you are listening to this episode. In fact, this episode comes out on the same day as the documentary. So I was sitting at home one evening on the couch expecting some well-filmed skateboard action because that's what Christian does. But this documentary is much more than a skateboard flick. It shows what happens when a small residential district of Cerrito de la Virgen loses its skatepark and the locals team up with the non-profit organization Concrete Jungle Foundation to build a new one and teach skate lessons to the youth. The Concrete Jungle Foundation is an international non-profit organization that builds skate parks and runs youth development programming in communities around the world. So far, they have been working in Peru, Jamaica, Angola, and Morocco to promote health and well-being and offer access to education and contribute to community developing through skateboarding. So you can follow them on social media, and if you like what you are hearing about them on the podcast today, of course you can be so kind and put a donation forward to one of the projects, which is much appreciated. El Cerrito is also a film which shows the importance of creating shared spaces and follows a group of skaters working on creating safe and educational environments for small communities in the north of Peru. So I could have not imagined a better fit than having Christian Fischer and Johannes Wimmeder on the show on Cities Reimagined to talk about the project, about the community building aspect of skateboarding and of the El Cerrito project as such, and the role of skate parks in communities in general, but also especially in this community in northern Peru. So Christian Fischer is a filmmaker and skateboarder from Vienna, Austria, and Johannes Wimmeder, he started volunteering for Concrete Jungle Foundation in Peru, and afterwards worked as a project manager alongside Arisa Moreno, the local manager and one of the main actors of the documentary El Cerrito. When he came back to Vienna, he and his colleagues from the Skateboarding Club Vienna started skateboarding projects, courses and events themselves. And currently they are busy working on a new indoor skate park for Vienna. I will leave the coordinates and all relevant links to the two of them in the show notes for this episode. So much for the monologue and introduction to this episode. Here it is, the conversation I had with Christian Fischer and Johannes Wimmeder on skateboarding and reimagining cities. Enjoy. Hi, Christian and Johannes. It's great to have you on the show. How are you doing?
Hello, Johannes.
Hello.
Thanks for having us.
Everything okay? You're based in Vienna, both of you, right?
Yeah, both based in Vienna. Everything good. A little bit of hard times for skateboarders
because of the winter months.
Because of the winter. I mean, not because of the cold weather, but because of the wet weather. That's mostly the problem we have. So yeah.
Yeah.
And we currently don't have an indoor skate park.
Yeah.
Yeah, it will take a couple of years until climate change will solve that problem, right?
Yeah.
It's sad but true. But tell a little bit about yourself. You're both based in Vienna. Christian, you're a filmmaker?
Yes, I'm a filmmaker based in Vienna. I grew up on the countryside, like in a little city in Ried im Innkreis, which is in Upper Austria, and which is also not too far from Johannes's hometown of Vöcklabruck. So we knew each other since a couple of years already.
Yeah.
From skateboarding.
Yeah.
And hung out in skate parks and at skate contests together.
Yeah.
Didn't really know each other, but then we got to know each other in Austria, actually, when we went to uni together.
Yeah.
And went skating together, and bonded and became friends.
Yeah, nice. And I just learned that we are all geographers. Yay. Johannes, how about you?
Yeah. I'm based in Vienna. I'm working for the Skateboard Club Vienna. And as Christian said, I came to the big city from my little hometown, Vöcklabruck. And that's basically it. Yeah, I did a little geography excurse. Now I was studying Lehramt at the university at Vienna and had some how you call it, city planning lectures.
Yeah. So I wanted to speak to you today on the podcast regarding your last project, or one of your last projects, El Cerrito, which was a project in Peru. But before we get into that, I would be very interested in what brought you to skateboarding.
Yeah, for me it was I don't know, I saw a skateboard when I was a kid the first time, and it was a kind of a strange object. I don't know, it was different to a football or to, I don't know, bicycle or something. It had a funny graphic, it looked funny, I don't know, it was weird, so I wanted to try it out. I wanted to to get creative and do something with it. And also I was looking for something that you can do on your own. Like you can do it together with friends, but you can also just go out and if you have spare time for 1 hour, then you just go out and push through the streets and, I don't know, try something.
Yeah.
And so it was pretty, I don't know, it was pretty simple. I just saw it and wanted to try it out and didn't think a lot about it, but then got hooked immediately, as it mostly is. And since then I'm rolling around.
Yeah, when was that? When did you step on the skateboard for the first time?
For the first time, I wasn't even a kid. I was like 13, 14, so already a little later.
Yeah.
A lot of my friends started really early, but I started a little later. Yeah, and the funny thing is that I think I wasn't even able to skate properly, and I already started to build ramps and like, get some wood and just screw it together and try to make something like a kicker or some bank or something to ride on it. For me, the reason was actually like a lot of skaters, when you're young and you are not really good yet, or you are not good, and then sometimes you are afraid of going to the skate park. It's a pretty typical skater story. And also I was on the countryside, so I just got one or two friends and we started to go into Dad's workshop and get some screws and a screwdriver and just put together some pieces of wood, and that's how we started to build ramps actually. Yeah. So since I'm a skater, I'm also a builder, I would say.
Yeah.
In my heart, not good, but I like it.
Yeah, very good. You shape your own environment for doing what you like. How about you, Johannes?
Yeah, I think it's quite the same story. I would emphasize the point of you can do it on your own, because I was like a super football enthusiast, and I was playing at a small football club in Riga, in my hometown. And I think it was around that time, like 12, 13, 14. I was like still playing football, but already had my own skateboard. And I don't know, like I had the direct comparison between those two. Like I still like football a lot, but skateboarding just gave me more freedom. It was like also the skate park was a super nice place where there was not really an authority in place or somebody that tells you how to do stuff or when you have to do stuff. So it was like for me a new experience.
Yeah.
And as I got older, like I quit football because I loved hanging around at the skate park, like doing my stuff. Also what you said, Christian, about like I could do it whenever I wanted to. And yeah, I guess that's my background, kind of.
Cool.
Yeah.
And also skateboarding is really, really about seeing cities differently, right? Seeing the urban space differently. Christian, you mentioned that being creative, also in not only building, but also probably perceiving what is in the city and the built structures in a different way, how you can use or how you can skate them. How does skateboarding influence how you see urban environments?
Yeah, I thought about that quite a lot, because that's kind of a cliche, which is true, to see it differently. But then I thought of, like, let's say, I don't know, little kids seeing a city differently, about people who, I don't know, people who have bad feet, are disabled, whatever. They see the city really differently, in a different way. Then, I don't know, depending on which sport you play or you practice, you see the city in a different way. So I guess it's just, maybe it's an intense way of seeing the city, because we have to like engage with what we have. Yeah, for us, a staircase is something you can jump up and down. It's not like the typical usage of the staircase to walk up and down to get from A to B. But for skaters, it's mostly something you can use in a creative way. And on top of that, if you skate for a while and you see skate videos, you have your own imagination about how you wanna ride with the board and which kind of tricks you wanna do. Then you even have another level of seeing that, because you can extend what you have in the city. So let's say you have a couple of, let's say 4 or 5 stairs up. You just put a piece of wood from the low end up to the staircase. You can build something we call a London gap or Euro gap, and that's something, for example, back in the days in the skate parks, we didn't have that. So we just went out, grabbed a piece of wood, went to the right staircase we found, and then we just built our own spot, and then we just ripped it and tried to do some tricks and fail and get hurt. That's what we do.
Yeah, I guess you realize that you have a certain, or like maybe a special view on cities when you walk around with non-skaters. Like I had that. I remember going through the city with a group of friends, and we were like, yeah, this building. I can't remember the city now, but they were like, "What, Johannes? Like there is so many beautiful there's so many beautiful buildings, this nice architecture, and you're just staring at this one staircase." And for me, it was like, wow, this was like such a perfect staircase to do something on it. So yeah, maybe it's a bit I don't know. It's like cities are a bit a playground where you, I don't know, you get to know different, you get to see different spots, and you imagine, wow, what could I do? What could somebody else do there? Yeah.
Yeah,
but
yeah, go ahead.
It's also not only how skatable something is, like how good it is to do tricks, but also like it's about the feel it has to it. So if you wanna, I don't know, spend time at a place and spend time at let's say a parking lot. So there's certainly parking lots where you want to stay your whole holidays if you are a kid. For us, at least, we did. And there's other parking lots where you don't want to hang out because it's just doesn't feel good. Yeah, so it's a little transcendent in a way.
Yeah, I really like that because it has so many layers to it. I ask you how you perceive space, and Christian, you answered in how you engage with space and how the quality of a space is, how a space feels. So this is and how you shape the space also with simple methods, with simple changes to spaces that they become skatable. So you create and interpret this space in your own way. I find it super cool. Johannes, I would be interested in your work with Skateboard Club Vienna and the Concrete Jungle Foundation. Tell us a little bit about that.
So Concrete Jungle Foundation is a non-profit organization that focuses on creating social change through skateboarding and does skateboarding projects all over the world, builds up skate parks, works together with the local community, and thrives to hand over those projects at one moment to the local community. So I would just start in Peru because I had, which is maybe a good thing to start off. Like there was something like academic forum on skateboarding, which is called, like, it was the first time in London, I think 2019, and I've seen there was numerous organizations, associations, which presented their work, and I've seen a photo of a school where they did skate-related pedagogic work, and that was actually a stand from Concrete Jungle Foundation. I was like immediately, wow, this looks great to me. Like I want to know more about it, and I started talking to Tim, and he is the programs director at Concrete Jungle Foundation, and he developed a pedagogic curriculum of how to learn life skills through skateboarding. And yeah, we started chatting, and then I ended up in Peru, like at that project. Like I after finishing my studies, I did a volunteering, and I wanted to work at that school, but unfortunately the school got destroyed at the moment I came there.
Wow.
So we kind of changed the whole plan, and there was a small youth center in Cerrito de la Virgen, in the north of Peru. we don't know where we are, right? In north of Peru, next to Trujillo, which is like the third biggest city in Peru. And I started we started working together with the youth center, did some skateboarding classes, community activities, and I got to know a lot of locals there who were super into the work with skateboarding, like skaters themselves. And we like kind of formed a team, and it was at that time where Corona hit, like COVID-19, and it kind of accelerated a team building process. So like we basically couldn't do nothing, but like as a team sit together, think about what we could do there with skateboarding, like with the scene in Trujillo and also locally in Cerrito de la Virgen, together with the small youth center. Yep. And that's kind of the story how it came up.
Cool. And I was lucky enough to have a sneak preview of your latest documentary, Christian, which is fully about this project called El Cerrito. And it's such a fascinating documentary because it really shows what you just described, this community building, this role skateboarding can have for a community in a disadvantaged neighborhood. I guess it was disadvantaged. And how the community engages in the process of building the skate park, and then also at the end being handed over the skate park. It's a really cool not only story, but it documents so well what social and community power skateboarding can have, right? But tell us a little bit about the community or the place where the documentary is filmed. I got from the documentary that the people had to flee or had to be moved because of a flood, because a flood destroyed their home, so it was not safe to live there anymore. Tell us a little bit about the background.
Yeah, so the background is, even for me, is a little difficult to understand, but as far as I know, like houses were built, or they had a lot of property there, and the government kind of gave them the space to flee from the flood destroyed, like the El Nino destroyed neighborhoods or homes. So that's how. I don't even know if all the people came from a similar area, or if they knew each other before, or if it's like they maybe just spread out, right?
I don't know neither. I remember Risa talking about it as like Cerrito is the story of a story of displacement and replacement.
Yeah.
Like people were displaced because of the El Nino phenomena and were promised new land, but it was rather like saying you lost your home, but like here is some piece of land where you can start over again. So
yeah, and the problem is that it was like there was not a lot of infrastructure, or maybe still is not, but yeah, I think they just put them there, and then afterwards slowly started to build the infrastructure which you need in a quite big neighborhood. And on top of that, next to the place, which you can also see in the documentary, like the first frame you see, which is the El Cerrito, which means little mountain. It's like a sacred place where people go to pray, to play, to celebrate. And in front of that, there's a field of just broken bricks and like stuff lying around. And this piece of land was actually also a neighborhood where people lived, but they had to get out because the government or somebody found like old Inca remains or something like that. Yeah. So that's the next thing. So if people were living there, just their normal lives, and then they had to get out because somebody found something on this property. Yeah. Which is a weird feeling.
How it is, right? For me, it's also super. Although I was staying there for quite a long time, it's like still not really transparent to me how things are going there.
Yeah. I would guess that it is one challenge to build that up, the infrastructure and the houses and so on. But the other challenge is to build up the identity of a space, or this whole non so tangible things you have in a city. You know, a city, if you just build houses, also you need to fill it with life and with a certain identity which you can perceive, or which you can create in a way. You have to build the space as well. And how did you work with the people in the community over there? How did that process go?
And it was it first started. I guess that there was a charity organization called Otra Cosa Network that was founded to how could you say, to do projects in El Cerrito, which is close to Huanchaco, which is a smaller town right next to the beach. And they did charity projects there, and one project was a small skate park. I think it started with a mini ramp back in the days, like it was, and they named it La Rampa, and that's where I got to know the place. So there was afternoon program with tutoring, with English classes at this small youth center. And I came there and started teaching skateboarding together with locals that have been engaged already at the project at the school in Trujillo. Yeah. And it was always like a super nice vibe. Like you came there and you knew La Rampa will open at 4 p.m. and there were already kids lined up before the like in front of the youth center.
And that was also kind of the origin of the story we're telling in the documentary, because this place just closed because they couldn't get the lease for the property anymore. And I think a woman just moved into that property, which is still now the same. So she has like a beautiful garden, which is concrete and ramps, but she's living there. Yeah. And I guess she doesn't skate. Maybe she started now. And that's how the plan was being built up for the new skate park, which is just next door. So it's like
it is a small, or how large is the plot? You see it in the documentary very well. It is a couple of hundred square meters, 2 acres.
I don't know. I guess it's like 250 square meters.
Yeah.
That. Yeah.
And tell us about this, or guide us a bit through the documentary. What do you see there?
I mean, for me, it was important to show a lot of the inside process of how it is to bring together a group of people and do it in a rather democratic way to get to decisions. I mean, in this case, it's a lot of creativity involved, because you need to plan the ramps, you need to plan the height, you need to plan the angle, all that stuff, and also what kind of ramps you want to build there, which is difficult if you have a lot of different skill levels wanting to skate there. So in this special case, everybody knew that it would be for kids in the first place. So for little kids who come from the community, who start skateboarding, who you can do workshops with. But on top of that, it should also work for the better skaters, I would say, who sometimes come from the neighboring cities, come there to skate, because there's not a lot of skate parks in general in this area of Peru. So it was an interesting process to bring these people together and just listen to them talk about that, and try to cut together that authentic story of how they came to decisions and to let's do it this way, and let's do it a little bit slower because otherwise you're gonna hit the wall and stuff like this. So
I would add the background info that CGF, like Concrete Jungle Foundation, was working on a planting the seeds apprenticeship program that started before we went to the construction site, let's say. So a few of the locals were involved in the designing process of the skate park already. So there was.
What is this planting the seed approach?
Yeah, the planting the seeds approach is, I guess, that's like at the core of what Concrete Jungle Foundation does, is providing know-how, space, and resources to let people learn. Like if it's teaching skateboarding or building a skate park, I guess like that. In some way, this is what Concrete Jungle Foundation is dedicated to, like to give people the. I'm missing the English word right now, but
capacities, probably.
The capacities, yeah. It's about capacity building. Yeah, I guess it's a lot about capacity building, and I guess the Planting the Seeds apprenticeship program is represents that super well. So we had few people on board. We did workshops of, well, what do you have to consider when planning a skate park? Like the concept, like conceptually, then I don't know, like you also get to like hard skills of, okay, how do you build that up? How do you
use those tools?
How do you use tools?
How does like the chemistry of like concrete work? You need the gravel and the sand and the water, and how do you mix that together to get a certain consistency to build whatever you want? And then also all the materials, you need the wood, you do the metal part. So
the planting the seed idea is that you build together, do it together with the local community, and then build the capacity there that they can take this knowledge up and this expertise up and take it further, right?
Exactly.
And so that they can choose what they want to do. So you don't teach them something and then they have that, but you try to be as holistic as possible and leave the decision to them what they want to take and what they want to keep on doing, or maybe nothing. Maybe it's only for learning. Maybe it's only for fun. Maybe they want to make a profession out of it, which some of them already do. So it's just giving them like a broad field of opportunities.
Yeah. In the documentary in El Cerrito, you see that the community is really engaged in the project. Also, that when at the end of the documentary, when the skate park is open and there's a lot of kids going around, and there's one, I believe he was a teacher or skateboarding teacher, who got really emotional about this chance to have a skate park again and to teach kids, because I think that was very important to him. How would you say that the project in Peru or El Cerrito increased the quality of life for people, or also the skills to skateboard, but also to build skate parks?
Skill-wise, you can see it already. We haven't been there for, when was it? When did we film it? 2 years ago? And you can see the clips the kids put on Instagram and social media, and you can already see like how crazy they skate already. The little kids we know from back then, which like who couldn't push back then, and now they doing proper tricks and doing crazy stuff. So this is definitely a real improvement, because they have a place to go every day. They can go there. They're living next door, so where else would they go if they want to skate? Of course, they go there. It's not about competition. I mean, there's always a little competition involved, but it's not about like reaching a certain goal or something. But it's rather about going there, meeting up, putting some music, also inviting the kids, and then just behave it like you do on a normal skate park. It has a beautiful randomness to it, because there's no guidelines or no nothing, but you just play together and you have a group of people together. It's like social interaction. Sometimes the old mother from somebody comes by and brings some whatever cookies or something. So it's like it's a crazy mix. It's not only about doing sports or something, but it's just a fun place, I guess.
And how does that make you feel when you now see 2 years later kids doing tricks? Is that what drives you in your
Yeah,
work?
it's super rewarding. It's super rewarding. I'm super excited. Like, I'm following all the updates, and I'm always super hyped when on social media I see new clips coming out, and uh, also, yeah, seeing kids growing up and being super hooked about skateboarding, and yeah, you see them that they're happy, and they have good times at the youth center. I guess that's the most important part of it.
Yeah. And what we haven't mentioned is that they are still doing a lot of workshops besides skateboarding.
Mm-hmm.
So they do have environmental classes. They have, I think, some kind of creative classes. They do like
English classes,
English, and I think singing classes.
Yeah.
So they do all kinds of stuff, and they already decorated the place really nicely. Painted the walls, and also did a little gardening, so it looks different now.
Yeah, super nice. I absolutely love, again, the documentary, because it shows that you do not only create the space by building the actual ramps, but by actually doing it with the community. You produce this intangible identity of the space, which is then you plant the seed then for what you just described, that there is a bigger program now around it, with English classes and environmental courses and so on. Going a little bit back from this very project to skateboarding as such, or the role of skateboarding for reimagining cities. How do you perceive that? How would you describe the role of skateboarding for reimagining cities and neighborhoods? Can skateboarding contribute to producing these qualities for hanging around or for using public spaces differently?
Mm-hmm. I think skateboarding is about how you call it, space appropriation, or like it's about mobility and appropriation. I guess you, like, as we've been talking from the, like, that skaters have a certain view on cities, on public space. I guess it also is a way of exploring the city and making it your space, your public space, because you have a certain way to use it and you feel you can identify with some places. So it is something where spaces that they can identify with and like hang around and make it their space, which also has like super cool side effects, as also for I don't know, politics. I mean, skaters that have their certain space, whether if it's that spot in Graz or Karlsplatz in Vienna, skaters care about their spaces. Like they care for trash. They make it a safe place. They make it a vivid place. So yeah, I guess
it's a very good point, because you know, when you have a crowd of skateboarders, is perceived in a very different way, right? So this angle that by having skateboarders on a space, that they increase safety, or the subjective feeling of safety, is a very interesting angle.
Yeah. For some people, it's the opposite, because it's loud and it's dangerous.
Yeah.
But that's how it is. Yeah. But the cool thing is that if you have spaces like the Karlsplatz, as Johannes mentioned, you can go there and you can be sure to meet somebody you know. So, and like, without having to call each other, you go to a place and you know it's not a skate park, it's not built for that, it's just a statue or whatever. But still, you go there and you meet people who do the same thing as you, and maybe have the same mindset, and you hang out, and it's like a interesting way of a gathering space. Yeah.
Do you have the feeling that how you are perceived, or how your work and also just skateboarding per se is perceived by local public administration, by city administration? How is your feeling that they perceive that? That this role of potentially community engagement, creating communities, planting the seed, creating safety, is that in Vienna or in any other country, is that perceived as such a role? Or is it more perceived as, oh, we have a community of skaters, they're ruining our curbs, we need to build a skate park so that they are pushed into that area?
That's tricky, but all in all, I think, at least speaking of Vienna, I have the impression that the city cares about that, and the city cares about involving skaters into the buildup of public space. And I guess that's super cool, that they involve different actors, people that actually use space, and ask, how should we build that up? There was one project in the 9th district at Anne Carlsen skatepark. Christian did a video for that, and it was super cool because we worked together with younger kids and youngsters to build up a small skate park, and they were involved in that process. And same as it counts for the skate park in Cerrito, when you involve the people that use those spaces, the spot, the skate park gets identity, and people start caring for it. City administration wants to see that happen. Like there's more participative projects going on.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Coming slowly to an end, what are 3 things you would suggest to anybody who wants to change anything in their city?
Maybe don't ask too much.
Don't ask too much and apologize later.
So yeah, maybe something like this. Maybe go to the internet and look up how to mix a bag of concrete and find something and put it there.
Yeah,
that's maybe maybe one approach, which I like.
Nice.
I would sign that. I think this is a good way to go. I don't know, maybe like in my case, it was also seeing how it's done in other cities and maybe bring it to your city. Get to learn how it's done in other places, and if you like it, bring it home and do it. And as Christian, maybe don't ask too much.
Yeah, and form a community, get together, form a community, and also reach out to the right people, and then I think there's a lot possible if you have motivation, and not like try not to wait too much until something happens, because it mostly doesn't happen if you don't start it, or if you don't just reach out to, I don't know, politics or somebody, some neighbor who has a space, and just
nice.
Motivation is a big topic.
I guess motivation, and maybe don't start it too big, like to grow something naturally, and start with like a small project, a super small scale project, and then take it from there.
Very good. What's next for you? What's next for the documentary, and what are your next projects?
So the documentary is going to be, we just put it on a couple of film festivals and did some screenings all over the world. And now it's time to put it on the internet, which means that it's there for everybody to view.
And I will link that in the comments or in the description.
Exactly. Thank you very much. And for my next projects, I'm doing some smaller projects right now, also a lot of interesting stuff, music videos, and little project where I have a lot of old Super 8 footage, which I got. It's a couple of maybe 12 hours of footage, which I digitalized, and now try to cut something nice out of it. It's not don't have a real plan yet, but it's going to be a lot of work, and I'm going to release it in, I don't know, this year for sure. Yeah.
Nice. And for you, Johannes?
My next big project is moving into a new flat, and
that's usually a big one indeed.
And the next thing is moving into an indoor skate park. Like the Skateboard Club Vienna is currently working on the new indoor skate park, and Christian will follow this whole process also with his camera. So and there's a lot of work to do, but we're super hyped that we can work on that project.
Super nice. Thank you so much for joining today. I absolutely love these conversations because it shows again that there is so many in urban transitions. There's so many angles to it which you do not perceive as such in the first place, but that there are so many people who really drive change, who really build communities, who really try to push a different angle on urban transitions. And I find that super fascinating. It was super cool to talk to you. I would advise everybody to watch the documentary because then it becomes so much clearer what we talked about today. And thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
It was fun.
That's all for this week. I hope you enjoyed the episode and I hope you get an appetite for watching El Cerrito now. You find the link to the full documentary in the show notes. Thanks for listening. If you like the show, please subscribe to Cities Reimagined, leave a thumbs up or rate the show on your favorite podcasting platform, or reach out to me on LinkedIn or via email, that is johannes@anthropocene.city. That's all for this week. My name is Johannes Riegler and I hope to catch you soon.